Ukraine is in a state of emergency, and we have the latest updates.
And Colombia is making change for abortion rights. Coming up on Studio G. Welcome to Studio G. My name is Nik Ana.
And I am Anna Meza. Thank you for joining us today.
Dear friends, today at 5 a.m. Kiev time, the armed forces of Russian Federation launched a war against Ukraine. For the past 13 hours, my country is fighting simultaneous attacks from the east, south, north, and from the air. The Russian armed forces began to bomb the infrastructure on the territory of Ukraine, our airports, warehouses, facilities, and also civilian infrastructure.
Last night, Russia invaded Ukraine, attacking cities with air and ground forces. President Joe Biden held a meeting with the National Security Council to discuss the unprovoked attack on Ukraine.
He rejected every good faith effort the United States and our allies and partners made to address our mutual security concerns through dialogue to avoid needless conflict and avert human suffering.
Last hour, President Biden addressed the nation, stating that the U.S. will not be sending troops at the moment, but will be providing new sanctions in response to the attack.
We will have more updates as this story develops.
Women in Colombia have achieved a historical victory in regards to their reproductive rights. Studio G reporter Jonathan Corral brings us more.
In a historic win for pro-choice advocates across Colombia, the Latin American country has become the latest to decriminalize abortion for up to 24 weeks of a pregnancy. Prior to the expansion, abortion was only legal if the mother's life was in danger, the fetus was malformed, or if the pregnancy was a result of rape. The new ruling claimed that these restrictions were discriminatory towards women with lower financial incomes, as they have a more difficult time getting access to reproductive medical services. While women's rights groups were somewhat disappointed that abortion was not totally decriminalized, this is still a huge landmark for many in Colombia, where an estimated 400,000 women a year receive clandestine abortions. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Jonathan Corral.
Pro-choice advocacy groups in Colombia are now ensuring that the law will be implemented in a way to help the people most in need of abortion services.
On to local news. Technology has quickly taken over the 21st century and continues to do so. Brianna de Leon has more on the impact of growing technology.
Las Vegas is known as a major tourism and hospitality hotspot with millions of visitors each year. A recent study by Commodity.com stated that more than 49% of Las Vegas workers are at a high risk of automation, while 42% of all U.S. workers face the same risk. The study says gaming dealers have a probability of automation of 96%. And while automation isn't quite as advanced just yet, it already takes up jobs at casino game tables and hotel virtual check-ins. It's likely that automation will end up impacting lower-skilled jobs first as technological advances continue. I'm Brianna de Leon, reporting for Studio G.
Tourism makes up for a majority of the jobs here in the Valley, and while technology makes advances, many locals in the Valley are relying on these jobs.
The remains of a local 4-year-old boy by the name of Mason Dominguez were discovered in a freezer just 2 days ago. Here's the latest. Local authorities searched a home near Lamb & Cary after CCSD Police Department alerted them that an elementary school student delivered a note to her teacher stating that her mother was being held against her will. The note, written by the mother, stated that she didn't know where her toddler was and he may be deceased. According to a press release from the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, the woman told detectives she had suffered abuse from her boyfriend. Brandon Toslin, the mother's boyfriend, has been arrested and is being charged with open murder and kidnapping. The paternal family of Mason Dominguez started a GoFundMe to help pay for a burial for the child alongside his late father. The family wrote on their GoFundMe they lost communication with Mason or his sister after the passing of the children's father last year. Friends, family, and community members remembered the 4-year-old last night at a vigil outside the home, leaving posters, candles, and teddy bears. The family has raised over $11,000 so far in their goal of $20,000.
The Marjorie Barrick Museum of Art has held a Las Vegas Woman of Color Art Festival. Studio G reporter Luis Soto highlights some of the major pieces of the exhibition.
In this exhibit at Marjorie Barrick, what caught my eye the most was this uniform of what seems to reference the slave maid outfits worn at the time, as well as this digital art piece highlighting Anarcha, Betsy, and Lucy that had their body cut without anesthesia to find the cure of VVF. After the procedure, they took care of the women who came after. I'm Luis Soto, reporting for Studio G.
The next exhibition is the Mojave Project exhibition by Kim Stringfellow. It will take place tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information on other exhibitions, be sure to visit unlv.edu/barrickmuseum/exhibitions.
Rebel Events Board are the party people on campus, and the student involvement and activities are hosting fun events throughout the semester.
Going back in time, Studio G reporter Matthew Guanga hit the dance floor. Here's more.
Rebel Events Board hosted a prom event for students to showcase their best dance moves and 80s prom attire. Food, drinks, and prizes were handed out to those who attended. A dance floor located in the far end of the ballroom gave a chance for people to dance and sing with one another. Meanwhile, a Bad Bunny and Michael Jackson impersonator performed on stage. They surprised many with the thought that they may be the real deal. What a great event for students to go to after a long day of school. I'm Matthew Guanga, reporting for Studio G.
Now from the dance floor to the library, some furry friends are stopping by on campus.
UNLV has a variety of outlets to help students with their mental health. One of them is dog therapy sessions. Pet Partners of Las Vegas come to UNLV 2 times a month to let students bond with certified therapy dogs.
It makes them happy. So if they're having a stressful day, it seems to deter that and make them a little more relaxed.
Therapy dog sessions are held in the Lyde Library. Students are free to ask the front desk when the next sessions will be held. This is Kira White reporting for Studio G.
Now, if you're looking for ways to get involved on campus, Justine Verstegi has more.
The Involvement Fair is a way for students to meet with over 400 registered organizations on campus. Each semester, the fair is held in Pita Plaza as a way for Greek life organizations and clubs to welcome students back to campus and invite them to join, as well as meet people who share similar interests. The Involvement Fair gives new organizations, such as the Car Club, a great way to gain new members, as it is their first year as an official registered club.
Trying to get more outreach so everybody knows more about the Car Club. We actually want to do a meet next month, so we're getting more involvement. That way people know about it and we can actually spread the word, get some cars at our meet. So yeah, just getting everything started. This is our first semester, so we're getting ready.
For a look at upcoming events this semester, follow Rebel Events Board on Instagram, REBUNLV, or visit unlv.edu/SIA.
Vegas has had a pretty chilly week, but will the Valley keep that up? Brianna De Leon brings you weather after this break.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Chris Domine is a husband and a father. Chris is an athlete. Chris is even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris was facing a very different story because his kidneys were failing.
Basically, the doctor said, if you don't get a kidney transplant and if you don't do dialysis, you are going to die.
Fortunately, Chris received a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor.
You know, your well-being changes, you know, from loss of hope to better times ahead.
More than 100 million people in America are registered organ, eye, and tissue donors. People of every age and ethnicity, because they believe it's the right thing to do. Imagine what you can make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's weather forecast. For today, looks like we do have a high of 52 degrees and a low wind speed of 3 miles per hour, which is a major difference of how it was earlier this week. Moving on into the valley temperatures across the board, we're going to be ranging in the 40 degrees. Lower parts in Summerlin as well as in Enterprise and Anthem going to be in the lower 40s. And as you move up to Sunrise, we're going to be hitting those highs of 45. And for today's weather highlights, we have sunny days with clear skies. As I mentioned before, we're going to be having that low wind speed. And for tonight, we're going to be having clear skies, but it will be a bit more on the chilly side, so make sure to have a sweater on you. For our evening planner, at around 3 p.m., we're going to be hitting the 50-degree mark, and as we progress throughout the night, we're going to be hitting those lows again of 48, moving on to eventually 30 degrees. And for tomorrow morning, it looks like we're going to be having a sunrise temperature of 35 degrees with that sunrise hitting bright and early at 6:16 a.m. So as we move forward and the days get longer, make sure to look forward to those early sunrises. And finally, for our 7-day forecast, we're going to be starting off in the 50-degree mark with those lows of 30s. And as we progress into next week, we're going to be hitting those highs again, 72 to 79 degrees, those lows only really in the 50s. So hopefully we'll make sure to keep that 70-degree weather and it'll last a bit longer this week. And that is all for weather. Coming up next, our sports reporters Nik, Quinnell, and Jacob talk about what's going on in sports, something that I don't have much knowledge on. So stick around.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
Third line, please.
DEPRESSION.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale.
Bipolar?
Sorting out a mental health concern is not something to attempt on your own.
Anxiety. I thought so.
Like many health conditions, help for mental illness takes professional diagnosis and treatment. And the sooner you seek treatment, the better.
Look at that. 6,000 steps and PTSD.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. Find out what to do. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
Chris Domine is a husband and a father. Chris is an athlete. Chris is even an Iron Man. But 10 years ago, Chris was facing a very different story because his kidneys were failing.
Basically, the doctor said, if you don't get a kidney transplant and if you don't do dialysis, you are going to die.
Fortunately, Chris received a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor.
You know, your well-being changes, you know, from loss of hope to better times ahead.
More than 100 million people in America are registered organ, eye, and tissue donors. People of every age and ethnicity, because they believe it's the right thing to do. Imagine what you can make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
In today's Sports Corner, I'm joined by Jacob Taylor and Q Jones. The MLB season may be in jeopardy. Let's take a look on what's going on.
The previous collective bargaining agreement expired on December 1st of last year. Here is MLB Commissioner Robert Manfred voicing his willingness to come to a resolution to help keep everything on schedule.
We made proposals and it just did not happen. After the owners' meeting in Chicago, I made clear the rationale for an off-season lockout. It's the norm in professional sports, and we feel it's the best strategy to protect the 2022 season for the benefit of our fans. We made the mistake of playing without a collective bargaining agreement in 1994, and it cost our fans and our clubs dearly.
MLB spring training was supposed to commence this week, but with stalled talks, this has caused baseball fields to stay empty and caused fans whether to wonder if baseball will even be around this season, as it looks to be in jeopardy.
So Q, why is there a lockout? Like, what's going on between the players and the owners? Is it like a money battle, or what's really going on with this?
It has to do with salary, the average salary and just like the minimum salary. They're just a gap away, like a huge gap away between the owners and the players. The players aren't having what they're basically offering, and they just basically want more.
So I heard that like the meetings they've had have been lasting like anywhere in between 15 minutes to an hour. To me, that sounds like nothing really productive is going on. Like, and the spring training was supposed to start, and now they're about to start canceling games. Like, what needs to change for there to be an agreement? Who needs to give in?
I think both sides need to. I can see why players are taking a stance. I do think the players have more control than any other league in baseball than they do in any other one. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, baseball players do be getting a lot of money, but now let's take a look into the NFL draft.
During the same week, Las Vegas hosted both the NFL Pro Bowl and the NHL All-Star Weekend back in February. There are plenty of talks surrounding Vegas and potentially hosting each event again in the future. As we get closer to the draft season, the NFL Draft will be taking over the Las Vegas Strip between April 28th and the 30th. The plan is to have first-round picks ferried to a stage that is floating on the Bellagio fountains. Other sites include the draft stage being in between the Caesars Forum and Westin hotels and resorts. There will be plenty of activities for fans to engage in, such as taking pictures with the Vince Lombardi Trophy and more. Malik Willis, one of the top quarterbacks of the draft class, chimes in on how he feels leading up to the draft.
I've just been training, really. Just physically training, mentally training, just trying to get sharper and sharper and prepare myself and try to fix all the issues and mistakes I had during the season. Like, you know, you're never going to be perfect, but to keep working at it each day, I feel like that's just the way to go about it.
Jacob, we just saw how many new events, sporting events, Las Vegas got. How monumental is it for the NFL Draft to be in Las Vegas at the Bellagio Fountains?
I mean, it's very big because we were waiting on them to come to the, Las Vegas for the draft back in 2020, and it got canceled because of the pandemic. But, having them come back to Vegas, it's really going to be one of those things that Vegas just, needs to boost the economy, and not only that, but bringing a lot of NFL fans. Having the Raiders here the last couple of years, we're slowly gaining that following for the NFL. So at the end of the day, we really just need to, continue that speed and, get into the NFL draft.
Now, Q, what do you think about the entertainment factor with carrying the players on ferries across the Bellagio Fountains onto the stage so they can shake Roger Goodell's hand? What do you think about the entertainment factor with that?
Well, I mean, I just think that it's Vegas, so entertainment it was definitely going to bring a show. Just having the draft there, we saw the Pro Bowl, it was big too. So I definitely think this is going to be the best one we've seen, just from an entertainment standpoint.
Now, do you guys know, or do you guys think that the whole, so the NHL had their event at the Bellagio Fountains and it was closed. Is the NFL going to do it open with fans surrounding the Strip and closing more of the Strip down, or is it going to be similar to the NHL where the streets closed but the Bellagio Fountains are taken by the players in the league?
They'll be closing off the entire Strip just to have it all for the fans, and it'll be closed off, and the Bellagio will be the main scene, but they'll also have it between the Caesars Forum and the Westin, resorts and hotel. So they're going to be closing it off so that fans have much more access to everything and they can enjoy things without having to worry about any kind of traffic coming in.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And we got about a minute left talking about the NFL draft. We have a UNLV player, former player who might get drafted, Charles Williams, running back. What do you guys think about him and his career here at UNLV?
We got to see a lot of him at UNLV for the last 6 years, and he's one of those fast running backs with good vision. And I mean, we're all just hoping that he'll be, drafted sometime in the draft, and if he's not, he'll be at the end, undrafted. But at the end of the day, he's got a lot of upside, and I really feel like if teams see the speed that he has, they can make the most out of it, So.
Now, Q, what do you think about his career?
He'll definitely get a shot, whether it's practice squad or he'll be a late round pick. But I definitely think NFL scouts have something to look at when they see him in his pro day. So.
Now, he set so many UNLV records. Do you think if he played for a stronger football university, that he'd be ranked as a higher prospect and maybe get drafted in a higher round?
I mean, I think if you go to a school like Alabama, with a great running back program they have, I think that it's hard to see someone like him. So him coming to UNLV gave him more shine, more light. So, and he did well with it. So.
Okay, we got time for one more question. When do you guys think he'll get drafted? What round?
I truly think that he'll be drafted, hopefully within the 6th or the 7th round. but at the end of the day, he'll probably have a shot with an undrafted, unrestricted free agent. So, I mean, I think he just needs to get a shot. And he will get predictions.
Well, yeah, I agree with Jake. It'll definitely be a late 6th or 7th round pick, but, I mean, he'll make the most of it.
For sure.
Yeah, it's just because he was in Mountain West, so.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for joining me today. And are you guys looking for a new dinner spot around town? Coming up, Molly Peters has an idea for you. Stay with us.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our technical skills, our math, our engineering skills. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our organizational skills, our problem-solving skills. You're going to need our determination, our honesty, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
Third line, please.
DEPRESSION.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale.
Bipolar?
Sorting out a mental health concern is not something to attempt on your own.
Anxiety. I thought so.
Like many health conditions, help for mental illness takes professional diagnosis and treatment. And the sooner you seek treatment, the better.
Look at that. 6,000 steps and PTSD.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. Find out what to do. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
For Studio G's first weekly restaurant highlight, I decided I wanted to showcase an eatery that had a casual dining experience mixed with an upscale menu. A place where you can get a first-class meal created by a world-class chef for less than $100. This is Gordon Ramsay's Pub and Grill, an authentic English pub experience located inside of Caesar's Palace on the Las Vegas Strip. The more casual version of Hell's Kitchen, Pub and Grill offers guests a variety of traditional British pub fare, ranging anywhere from fish and chips to Ramsay's classic beef Wellington. For first-timers, it's best to order the 3-course meal, which includes a delicious onion and ale soup as an appetizer, a beef Wellington with mashed Yukon Gold potatoes as the main dish, and a sticky toffee pudding for dessert. While not necessary to enjoy the meal, wine pairings for each dish are available at an additional cost. The entire meal is a mouth-watering experience and will definitely leave you wanting more. I recommend the 3-course meal from Pub and Grill for those of you wanting to try a Gordon Ramsay beef Wellington. It's cheaper and just as delicious as the 3-course meal from Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen. It does get quite busy around dinner time, so make sure to plan ahead. Reservations can be made through OpenTable, and be sure to save room for the amazing dessert.
Molly, thank you. That sounds really good. What do you think about that place?
I've been wanting to check it out, and now that you told me this, I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah,
So
a cheaper Hell's Kitchen, that sounds amazing. I definitely need to check it out. Maybe get a nice beer with my steak.
it's like a month out for reservations at Hell's Kitchen all the time. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go there as a team. It'll be fun. So anyways, after almost 12 years of being off air, the Law and Order original series returns for its 21st season. The Emmy-winning drama series features Sam Waterston and Anthony Anderson reviving their roles as fan favorite District Attorney Jack McCoy and Detective Kevin Bernard. Along with new additions to the cast, the show will continue tackling cases per episode and possibly have a few crossovers with other procedural series in the franchise. Law and Order airs tonight at 8 p.m. on NBC.
Well, once a short parody trailer becomes a drama series. Bel-Air takes on a more dramatic and darker approach than its sitcom counterpart, original Prince of Bel-Air. Star Will Smith produces the show and gives us a new side to the main character. You can catch up on the first season on Peacock.
Timmy Turner is coming to life. Nickelodeon animated series Fairly Odd Parents has a new live-action sequel series that shows the pink-hatted kid all grown up. The show focuses on his 13-year-old cousin Viv and her stepbrother Roy inheriting the iconic duo Cosmo and Wanda and creating their own wishes. Fairly Odd Parents, Fairly Odder streams on Paramount Plus at the end of March.
You know, surprisingly, I actually watched all of these shows for the first time this week. I'm actually up to track.
Finally.
Yeah. Which one of these three was your favorite?
I am a total kid at heart, so I would have to say Fairly Odd Parents. I love that show.
Mine too. Kanye West has made a name for himself as a fashion icon, and some of his highly anticipated Yeezy, Gap, and Balenciaga collaborations are now available.
The 25-piece collection includes logo t-shirts, hoodies, and a denim jacket. 8 of the items in the collection went on sale Wednesday. However, all of these pieces are currently sold out.
You can join the waitlist for the release on YeezyGap.com. Kanye back in the news already. I told you guys on Tuesday, this guy is the perfect rapper for us to cover. So you were telling me something in the back in our meeting room about him potentially plagiarizing this clothing. What's that about?
There is a brand called Paradise that has some fairly similar designs. The color scheme and the logos are very similar. I'm not sure if they have maybe some of the same designers working on the collection, but I mean, if you can't get your hands on Yeezy, then get your hands on Paradise.
Yeah. Do you think honestly, would you ever buy any Yeezy clothing or shoes, or do you think it's overpriced?
I wouldn't buy it for myself, but I wouldn't mind if my husband gifted it to me.
I feel that those kind of gifts are always perfect. What do you think about Yeezys, the shoes? Would you rock them?
I like them a lot, but they're just overpriced. And then the bots online are always buying up all the shoes before anybody else can. They're super early, waiting, ready to press the button to buy, and I never get anything. It's so unfair.
Yeah, it's also unfair because they don't make them in my size that much. So I have even more bots to compete with. There's probably 10 pairs in my size. It's really hard to get a hold of anything Kanye related.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching.
Be sure to tune in next Tuesday at noon for more Studio G.